TIFU by setting one of my girlfriend's nudes as our laptop background. I'm a prankster, I'll admit it. I love to prank my girlfriend and it's a bit of a fun thing between us. None of my pranks are malicious, they mainly cause minor annoyance and then laughter. My girlfriend is quite conservative, and though she's open to taking photos and videos in the bedroom, she gets red-faced if I show her the photos afterwards. One of my pranks is to say, "Hey, look at this cute cat picture," then show her one of her photos. She gets embarrassed and then we laugh. Anyway, here comes the foo. I decide to prank her by setting our laptop wallpaper as one of our intimate photos, then switch the laptop off. Later on, when we want to watch a movie in bed, I'm in the kitchen dishing up dinner and I call to her, "Love, turn the laptop on in the meantime and get the movie going." I snicker to myself as I wait for the inevitable WTF from the bedroom. Nothing. I cautiously peek my head around the bedroom door. Everything okay? The laptop won't switch on. But the laptop refused to turn on. My girlfriend sighs and casually says, "I guess I'll just take into the IT store tomorrow and let them check it out." Instant panic. "No, you can't do that," I say to her. "Why not?" Because why? I had to tell her. Being the way she is, you can imagine how absolutely and utterly mortified she would be if the IT guy had to switch on the laptop and see her in all her unclothed glory on the desktop. I wasn't too keen on them seeing her naked either. She was understandably extremely annoyed and I felt like a complete idiot. We sat wondering what on earth we could do about this broken laptop that didn't involve us handing it into another person. I suggested we go and just explain to them and ask them to please not go to the desktop. My girlfriend was adamant even that would be too embarrassing for her to bear because they would just know why, and would likely go to the desktop simply out of curiosity anyway. We started Googling and trying everything to get the laptop to start up. She got on the phone with some tech-savvy friends, and eventually after some tinkering we managed to get it to switch on long enough to change the wallpaper. Turns out the battery and charger port had died, so now it would only work if the charger was plugged in a very specific way. However, that was the least of our worries, and after the picture had been successfully erased we sent it in for repairs. My girlfriend has not let me forget this though, and I must admit after this I have toned down my pranks considerably. We still laugh about it though. Doctor, set our laptop background to one of my girlfriend's nudes as a prank. Laptop decided to stop working. Instant panic as we realized we'd have to go hand it in for repairs and potentially have an IT guy seeing the photo. I repaired my own once. I just needed to order a new jack from Alibaba and solder it in place, so now the charger works just fine. I broke a ribbon connector in the process, though, so now the keyboard and USB jacks don't work. I got another part from Alibaba, though, but it was the wrong size. The eventual fix was to get another computer, and shelve the broken one for future me to deal with. So far, that plan is working great. My favorite was working in a college and the lecturer had an external HDD that had died and wanted to see if we could retrieve any of the data. We managed to get pretty much everything, including the several 100 gigabytes hidden folder full of pictures and videos of him and a woman who I presume was his wife. Couldn't look at him the same way after seeing him in suspenders, bra and makeup, or the secondary school teacher in his 50s who had tabs for local swingers clubs open in the browser on his phone. It's just basic stuff to not have the stuff open. I've got a buddy that used to work in computer repair. They got a computer in and the background was someone being fisted, so they changed it to a generic one while it's in their shop. The owner comes, with his girlfriend, to pick it up and starts asking why they changed his background. He quickly realized what he had and drops it, but his girlfriend doesn't. Finally, the guy behind the counter looks at her and says it was a photo of him wrist deep in you. She turned bright red and quickly left. The boyfriend paid without saying anything else. Can confirm from past experiences, you'd be surprised how many CIOs, CTOs and CEOs set explicit photos of their spouse as their background. One had her husband schlong post-orgasm dripping in all its glory with mistletoe hanging from it during a remote session. This is why many remote enterprise toolings have a blackout wallpaper function nowadays too. The weirdest one was one of my former boss. Apparently they were having an affair because she was definitely not his wife and shouldn't have had photos of him like that. Bastard came and chatted with me a few days later after reviewing call logs and replaying remote sessions. Awkward as fuck. I explained that I just wanna come in and do my job, ain't my business. Never did get declined time off again after that though. Okay, another IT guy here, and I have to say that the concept of sending nudes feels nightmarish to me. These pictures are extremely sensitive to the girls, yet they get sent over unsecure connections. Email, yes, I've seen that. Messaging apps where you agree that everything you send becomes property of the app maintainer. Try reading Facebook or Google EULA, then they sit on unencrypted drives or somewhere in the cloud behind a password that the person reuses on 20 other sites. People generally don't think about data security very much, and it takes one leak anywhere in the above-mentioned chain and your nudes end up on porn sites forever. And it doesn't even have to be a security incident. The people involved often aren't trustworthy. The boyfriend becomes mad after breakup and starts sharing the nudes left and right. I see this all the time. Yes, hell, I've been married to my husband for 6 years and we've never exchanged nudes or taken videos. Not because we don't trust each other but because of how surprisingly easy it is for a third party to get a hold of something like that. I wasn't as careful when I was younger and it's actually pretty miraculous that nothing ever happened before, that I know of. When I was in college I sent my then BF nudes that I only wanted him to see. I'm very private and thought it would be nice. So imagine my surprise when he shows our mutual girlfriend my nudes that I took for him. Like WTF. I broke up with him shortly after. It's an insane breach of trust. Edit. I didn't mean to say that what Op did is as bad as what my boyfriend did. Op's story just reminded me of being careless with your soul's private nudes when they sent them with trust that you would keep them private. Treating that as a joke or a prank just seems disrespectful to me. This is coming from a girlfriend who occasionally sends nudes to my boyfriend because I have the utmost trust that he treats them seriously, and not as a joke. I agree. Trying to prank her by showing her own nude photo to herself isn't really a prank. It's just fucking weird and creepy. She's clearly conservative and uncomfortable. I 100% bet that her laughing after are because she's uncomfortable, not because she's suddenly not conservative and finds a photo of herself hilarious. Like, why would anyone find that funny? Yep, he's lucky he even gets nudes and he does this shit with them. Just more reassurance for me to never take any. I'm sure it's super funny to him and she's in no way pretending it's okay because they're together. Women pretend to not be bothered by things all the time so they don't rock the boat. Anyway, sounds like shitty behavior. Your GF trusts you enough to take nude photos of her and even keep them in your phone? Well, here's one simple way to reverse that. Be a child and tease her for letting you do the thing you want to do. That'll get her. Opposite what for constantly trying to trick her into looking at the photos she is obviously embarrassed of and is clearly only doing because she trusts him. Why she trusts him? Who TF knows if he's constantly pranked you with the nude you sent me that you wish you hadn't. You know, as a woman who has had people try to tell her that they think YZ interaction between me and my now husband should be offensive to me when we found it funny, this comment smacks of I wouldn't like that and wouldn't know how to stand up for myself, so I'm going to protect other people from having to do the same. But it's infantilizing as fuck. I hate seeing women do this to other women. Half of this comment chain is I am a woman and I feel super sensitive about my nudes, so you're a jerk. Cool. So don't date him, and stop suggesting that we are all as precious about our nudes as you are. You speak for women like you, not all women. Op, go ahead and talk to your girlfriend about this. Check in and see if she's still finding it funny, for sure, but for the love of an imaginary god, don't let other people start telling you the right or wrong way to have fun in your relationship by projecting themselves into your girlfriend's position. Sorry to sound salty, But I spent literally years explaining to our friends that we don't play the way they play and that's what works for us. It was a real fucking issue for a while and I got tired of having people telling me how they would feel about my life while not listening to me about my own experience. All in the name of feminism, usually, which is the hilarious, ironic and sadly, stupidly ironic part. IT guy here, do you know the number of times we've seen any one of our clients naked? To quote K2 so, we see it all the time so we're pretty well desensitized to it. It doesn't bother us and we wouldn't judge you on that. That's not to say we don't judge you at all. We just don't judge you on that. If you went to freevirusandmalware.com and downloaded and installed their whole directory onto your OS, that is when we'd judge you. But yes, take ease in knowing the only unwilling party who has seen you naked more often than your computer guy is your phone guy, and neither one care. I used to do data recovery for friends and family. I'd explain what I do, the tools, and then spot check to see if we were getting gibberish back or whatnot. Usually there would be that barely perceptible freeze in their face when I said spot check. I'd usually ask, I'm also a photographer, and say is there any folders I should make sure not to check, like just let the tools run. Data recovery on Word docs sucked, as any corruption made it unopenable. XML made it easier to extract raw text so, in one case, a thesis was rescued. But still, what a PETA. A JPG could extract easily but still be corrupted. Back up your data peoples. My girlfriend is quite conservative. And though she's open to taking photos and videos in the bedroom, she gets red-faced if I show her the photos afterwards. One of my pranks is to say hey, look at this cute cat picture then show her one of her photos. She gets embarrassed and then we laugh. You want to embarrass your girlfriend for being sexually active and adventurous and trusting you? Your prank is more important than your sex life, as well as her mental comfort. I sense big brain energy here. /s. This reminds me of a prank gone wrong when I was young. A friend of mine had been over that day and as a joke, he set a random porn pic as my computer wallpaper. We share a laugh. I remove it. All is well. Later that day, I end up having an argument with my mom over something, and she tells me to shut off my damn computer. I yell fine and go on the computer and click shut down. All of a sudden, the damn porn pic just pops up in all its glory for my mom to see, stays on the screen for a good few seconds which felt like eternity, and then the PC shuts off. She asks me what the hell that was and all I could mutter was that my friend played a prank on me, and she storms out of my room. TLDR, computer decided it was a good time to display porn during a heated argument with my mom. I'm glad you're toning down this pranking behavior because it just sounds really mean. She's clearly uncomfortable with the pictures and you're using that to get rise out of her. At best this is childish. Will you still love me even though I annoy you? And at worst it's sadistic. I like to see you uncomfortable so I'm going to do things to make you uncomfortable at my whim without warning. Because my desires are more important than your feelings. A prank should be harmless. It shouldn't cause the prank person to feel bad. That's just bullying. Sometimes it is literally just the battery that is kaput. You can try to run on AC power only for a bit. Remove T, plug it in. If it boots and stays on, it's very likely the battery. Usually, generic replacements are adequate but OEM typically best. Cheap. If it won't come on under plug-only power, it could be the power brick itself, easy to test with a multimeter. Also, cheap to replace and generics matching voltage, wattage and plug fit are just fine, or the plug-in on the computer. Not cheap. Honestly, I've been in IT for way too long, and I've seen so many nudes on desktops and such, that you just don't even care about it that much anymore. We get used to it, and just continue on. The most that would be said would be oh, that's cool as it powered up. In my last shop that I worked on customer computers, since the area was open to clients able to walk back there, we probably would have changed it to something basic, and then before we returned it, swapped it back to what you had. Honestly, hand it to a tech and tell us the desktop wallpaper is set to a personal photo you don't want anyone to see. We can avoid login. Login is a different account, all sorts, or just plain old not really look. It's a personal laptop. We're geeks. We have kinky photos too. We also have access to better nudes and HD porn than your GF. No offense, it is also incredibly common. Yes, they might look, or not being able to not look, but you can't go to a doctor about your penis and not strip off. Still, shed timing bro. Ops GF needs to dump him. He can go be funny with someone else's private pictures and stop having to convince his current GF to take them when it already makes her uncomfortable. Ladies, read it and weep. Stop trying to be the cool girl by sending nudes. These men don't care about your privacy and will only treat you worse after you give them what they beg for. Dude, you're playing super fast and loose with your girlfriend's pictures and it needs to stop. Take a break from pranking with her nudes for a while. Think on it. She's put trust in you for having those pictures. It probably took a lot for her to do that. You're joking around with it. She set up a sexual boundary and you're just pushing and pushing. Seems funny to you. There are so many other harmless pranks you can play on yourself. Just don't do it with nudes. Sorry this happened. A few observations if I may. One, probably not a good idea to upload personal items to the work computer. As you know, companies back up files to the cloud or their own drives, so even if you delete it, it can be inadvertently found. I'm fairly certain the company has a rule against loading inappropriate content on their devices. 2, doesn't really sound like your GF is comfortable or happy to have herself exposed. Based on your described reaction after you show her pics after the fact, from one person to another, my unsolicited advice is to really evaluate if she's comfortable with the pics, vids and set some boundaries. You're an idiot. I know a lot of other commenters have told you this in various ways. Suggestion: stop doing pranks, like, all of them. Also, YSK. If something like this were to happen in the future, you could remove the SSD. That's where the OS and wallpaper are saved. You can explain to the tech that you took it out because you have private information on it and they should be able to work around it, but obviously won't be able to diagnose an OS issue. Also, you could, and should, encrypt your SSD. That way someone would need a password or passphrase to even read any data off the SSD. But mostly you should stop being an idiot. NGL, I hope your GF finds someone better. Laptops suck in regards to batteries and charging. The first one I ever had in college back in the early 2000s needed to have the cord in a specific position, forced upwards, so that it would charge. The HP Spectre I bought like 4 years ago does this thing where it flat out refuses to charge the battery sometimes until it's fully drained, won't even power on, but works fine when plugged in. I got a Dell XPS 13 from work and the damn thing just flat out refuses to turn on after 3 months. I sent it back to work and the help desk had to remove the battery, which involved disassembling the laptop, in order to charge it externally and put it back in, and then it worked. I hate to burst the bubble, but any files you have on a device will be seen if you send it to a repair center. There are many stories of IT techs downloading private videos and photos off of customer devices for their personal consumption. Occasionally they get dumb and upload them to porn sites and get caught. And just because they're in a secret folder or you deleted them, that doesn't mean they're safe. I read enough to see this douche is a prankster and uploaded a nude of his girlfriend. That's assault. That's sick. That's a crime. Pranksters as adults are lame-ass bitch boys who apparently never grew out of bullying. So don't know what happened to the op, but hopefully his girlfriend has a restraining order and prankster bra is serving some jail for a while. My mother told me when she and her sister took my cousin's phone, early 2000s smartphone with Symbian OS, to a phone repair shop because it was constantly showing some error messages. My cousin had forgotten that he had chosen a porn image as the start image, so the first thing the repair guy saw when he powered on the phone was an image of some woman spreading her lady parts. My mother told that her sister got red from embarrassment. I remember working at Geek Squad and having a nice mom-type lady drop her laptop off for repairs. Turns out it had a bad stick of RAM. No big deal, but when I booted it up I was greeted by the mama status in full force and some rope very creatively tied. I did the usual policy of changing the background to something less distracting and proceeded to run a virus scan and clean up like normal. She picked it up later that day with her kids. Lol. I'd take that over the creepy underage anime porn wallpapers on some machines.